Hi, today I'm going to do something really different. And I've not done this before. I kind of do it all the time when I work with my clients, but I've not made a video like this before. And I've kept track of a number of different questions over the last few years that many of you have written to me with of how do I do this or how do I do that? So today I'm going to start going through a number of these questions and just give you my answer. Same answer I would give to my clients when they're asking me these same questions. And I hope this is really helpful for you. I'm just going to speak and see what kind of answers I come up with this list of questions that are here. Does that make sense to you? And for those of you that don't know me, I'm Grant, and I've been an executive business English coach for many years. I've helped many CEOs and business executives become confident using English so they can grow their companies all over the world. And that's why I created this channel, so that I can share all of this really helpful information with you so you can build your confidence. Use English the way that you can use your native language and be successful in English and be confident and just speak naturally. Okay? Should we get started? Here's the first question that I'm going to talk about. How do I stop sounding nervous in English meetings? That's a very common question that I get. I think the first thing to think about is nobody cares about your mistakes. You are the only one that cares about your mistakes. And what I find is that people get really nervous thinking about this big meeting that's going to happen in English. And they start thinking and they want to use their perfect English and make sure everything is right. People don't care about your mistakes. They really don't. And that's where a lot of being nervous comes from, is that you're worried about being perfect and not making mistakes. So stop that. Just stop worrying about that. And what you really want to focus on is being able to get your message from you to the people that are in the meetings. That's what you're trying to do. Focus on your message. Forget about your grammar. Forget about your perfect English. Just focus on your message and speak with some feeling. When you speak with some feeling, you won't be as nervous. English is just a tool. Nobody is giving you a grade or a score on your English. Just relax and communicate your message with confidence and really have some feeling to your message. And I know that you will not be as nervous sounding when you participate in these meetings, okay? So give that a try. All right, let's go on to the next question that I have here. How can I remember and use new business vocabulary? Well, I don't know about you, but almost everybody I work with has been studying English for a long time. And they have learned this many words, but they use this many words. So how do we build this and grow this so that you're more confident and comfortable using more words, using this business vocabulary? I'm a huge believer that vocabulary builds confidence. Huge believer. I've seen it work with every client, and I go through a huge amount of vocabulary. And you've seen it in lots of these videos. I'm building a course right now, and 75% of that course is vocabulary, because vocabulary builds confidence. But you can't just memorize. And when you only memorize, the words will never come out of your mouth when you're speaking. They just won't. You know them, but they won't come out because you're not practicing using these words. So my advice to you to use more words, use more business words, is to really practice using these. And they have to come out of your mouth. You can't just sit and learn and memorize. You have to speak. And lots of times that means you have to sit in a room and speak by yourself. But speak and speak and speak. Don't just say the word. Say the word in sentences. Say the word in sentences that's meaningful to you. And then take some time. This is a really important step, but take some time and think about how can you use this really interesting, good business vocabulary word in your own business or in your own life. And then make some example sentences. So sit and think about, how can I use this? Whatever that business vocabulary word might be, strive. How can I use strive? And then make some sentences. Don't write them down. Say them. Say them out loud. Say them with confidence. You have to speak with confidence. You have to speak with feeling. And then this business vocabulary will come right out of your mouth. But if you've never said these words before, they're certainly not going to come out for the first time in some meeting. You have to use English. And that means when you're practicing, you've got to speak and speak and speak and speak and speak and use these words. And think in English and use these words. All right? Give that a try and see how that works. Here's another question. What do I do if someone doesn't understand my English in a meeting? I love this question. And it happens all the time. You're saying something and you can just tell by looking at somebody, they give you that look like, you know they didn't understand anything. So here's what I do. Do not say the same thing again. If you say something and they say, what? Don't repeat the same words, but instead do this. Use another word that means the same thing. Plus, use an example. So instead of just repeating the same word, trying to get them to please understand, don't do that. Use a different word, a simple word that means the same thing, and then put it into an example. If you're trying to use the word strive as an example, I'm striving to improve our results, and they didn't understand your pronunciation of strive. Don't say strive again. Just say, I'm trying hard. I'm really trying hard. We're trying to increase our results this year, and that's what we're trying hard to do. Oh, I understand. And it doesn't matter if they don't know the word strive or if you can't pronounce it. So use a different word and use an example. Always use an example. People always understand examples. That's a great way for you to be able to make sure that somebody really understands you during a meeting. Here's a question I get asked all the time. And a lot of people are not comfortable with small talk. And so the question is, how do I keep small talk conversation going? And this is a really good question because most of the time it's, hi, how are you? I'm good. You? Good. Okay. That's it. So I'm a big believer that the most important skill in small talk is listening, not speaking. Listening. So if you ask somebody, how you doing today? And they say, I'm good. Well, then ask them why they're so good. If they add some feeling to their answer, ask them, what's going on? Oh, sounds like a special day. Or is there something special happening? Or on the opposite, if, I'm okay. Oh, is this a bad time? Is everything okay? Just listen and go off of something they said or how they said it. I call this expand and build, but it's really about active listening. So if you really listen to them and you listen to their answer, how you doing today? Oh, I'm good. I just finished up a really important meeting. Oh, really? Was the meeting good? Just ask a question about it. You don't need the details of the meeting, but expand on something they said. Really listen to them, then expand on something they said, and ask them a follow-up question about that same thing. So the most important part to me about small talk that most people ignore is listening. Listen to the other person. Listen to how they said something, listen to what they said, and ask a follow-up question that completely relates to what it was. And that will work for you. Let's look at another question. And this is a really, really great question. And the question is, how do I practice English if I don't have anyone to speak to? Well, I've been asked this for years. And before I used to say, look, you just have to speak out loud. And you have to get all the words to come out of your mouth. Take a book, read it out loud, and really start to feel the words, start to feel the meaning of what you're reading or what you're saying. Speak out loud, record yourself speaking, practice that, get used to speaking. And now there's even a better option. And I use this as I build my course. And that's to use something like ChatGPT Voice or any of the AI, the great AI tools out there, and use their voice mode so that you can have a conversation and say, I want to practice speaking. And today I want to practice speaking about the marketing efforts that we're using at work. And here's what we're doing. Can you have a conversation with me? If you haven't used ChatGPT Voice or any of the other AI models, Grok or any of these, Gemini, then I have made a group of these videos that I've made, and you can see it on my YouTube channel. And there's a group of them there. Just search for ChatGPT, and you'll see a number of different videos on how to use these things, how to set it up, and how to use it. I use this all the time in my course. I show you how to use this the best way you can. But you can go and just have a conversation and be able to have somebody listen to you and speak back. And I teach you in my course how to do this in a great way and be able to really get great feedback from it also. So that's a fantastic new tool that exists out there that anybody can do. Doesn't cost you anything, and it's a fantastic tool. That's what I recommend. Here's another question that I get asked by many of my clients, and that is about negotiation. How do I negotiate in English without sounding aggressive? Well, I think there's a number of ways to do this. And first, when you're nervous, you can end up sounding aggressive or maybe not natural. And people can take that as, whoa, 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 you're kind of being aggressive here, or even being too strong. In your negotiations can always be stressful for people in any language. And then when you have to do it in English, it's 28 times more difficult and more stressful. So think about practicing. You have to practice before you do some negotiations, and you have to think about what are the questions that somebody might ask me in this kind of negotiation. And when you're prepared for those kind of questions, then it's a lot easier to be able to answer those and answer them in the right kind of way. And what I mean by that is try to stay positive. And so start with positive language. And as you're practicing your answers, use some positive language. Instead of but, use and. Just things like that. It really makes things nicer. Or you can also soften the language a little bit. Instead of we need to, something like, could we think about doing it this way? And when you're using a little bit softer language that way, it works really well. Also in negotiations, sometimes we get a little tense, and that comes out in our voice. Again, especially if we're using English and we're not confident using it. So try to keep your tone even. Your tone is one of the most important parts of a negotiation, especially in a language that you're not comfortable with. And what I highly recommend that my clients do is you practice this. You can practice it with a chat GPT and say, look, I want to negotiate. I want to practice negotiating about this specific deal. Here's what we're negotiating. And I want to be prepared. I want to be able to speak with positive language. I want to use softer terms, and I want to keep my tone even. So please let me know if I'm doing those things. And you will get great feedback from doing that. Give that a try. Let's see how that works for you. All right. So there's 6 different questions that came from all of you. And I hope you find these answers interesting and useful, because this is exactly how I help my clients every day when I'm working with my private clients. I'm going to go through more of these, so please ask as many questions as you want in the comments of this video or any video. We keep track of these questions, my little team and I'll be happy to do many more videos like this. I'm going to do a series of these and try to get at all of your questions that you've been asking for the last few years and more. So I hope you found this really helpful. Let me know what kind of questions you have, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. Have a great day. Have fun with your English. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share your comments, and I also invite you to learn your Business English Confidence Score. You'll find the link in the description below this video.